Special thanks to Savitar Tennis Center, the Swiss hotel in Singapore, for the opportunity to record this video at their courts.
Hi, Thomas from fieldtennis.net here. Technique only functions well when it's executed at the right time. If I hit the ball too late, even though I've been doing the technical parts correctly, the ball doesn't go off my racket. Well, I don't have good control. And so the key point to making your technique work is to hitting the ball at the right time. And that's actually one of the most challenging parts of tennis. And that's because we always receive a slightly different ball. It's landing at a different distance from us. It's maybe high or low with a different spin and so on, and we constantly have to adjust to that. And my point in today's lesson is that we're only going to hit the ball at the right contact point if we try to do that. Of course, we're going to hit most of the ball somewhere here, but in order to get to the next level, you will need to pay attention to your contact point to actually find the most ideal contact point for all of your strokes. So how do I find ideal contact point for each particular stroke? Well, I find it through awareness. I'm paying attention to where I'm hitting the ball and to how I feel. So if I'm hitting the ball slightly late, I'm going to feel that. I feel tension in my body. I feel that my body is not uncoiling, for example, on the forehand. And I'm aware that, my contact point is late. So on the next ball that's coming, I'm just trying to say, okay, earlier I want to hit the ball here. And then I see how I feel. So if I feel that the ball is coming off my racket more effortlessly, and I feel that I'm in good balance, then I know that I'm hitting the ball in the right contact point. And of course, through practice and repetition, and simply by paying attention to the contact point and how well the ball goes off my racket, I'm going to improve that aspect of my tennis game. Here's another way to look at technique and timing. The technique is the how. How do I prepare? Do I use the unit turn? Do I load my leg? Do I rotate my shoulder? And so on. So these are all the how questions and answers. But the timing is when. When do you do that so that you hit the ball in your ideal contact point? Because when you hit the ball in your contact point, your technique is going to produce maximum effect on the ball. If you're hitting late, then you're hitting below optimum. You're not using the maximum potential of your technique, and then the ball is not going to be good. And so no amount of technical correction is going to solve that. You simply need to hit the ball in the right contact point, and then your technique is going to work best.
Here's a comparison of two forehands where I hit one time too late and one time well in front in the ideal contact point for the forehand. So let me repeat. No amount of technical instruction, meaning mechanics of how to move your arms or your body, is going to solve this problem. Most coaches and players only see the consequence of late contact point, and what they see is that the technique now doesn't look right, so they correct the technique. That won't solve the problem because the problem originates in when and not in how. When do you need to initiate your swing forward so that you catch the ball right in your ideal contact point? That is the process you need to work on in order to solve the timing issues.
So to demonstrate how this process works, I'm going to play with my left hand and I'm going to give you live updates of what I would do. So, okay, this one is good contact point. This one is a little bit late, so next ball I want to hit a little bit more in front. So I'm very aware, okay, here, okay, that's better. Here I cheat a little bit. And this ball, yes, that's good. I feel good contact point. This one I feel late, so I'm gonna try and intercept the ball next time. Here, yes, better. And then this one is good. How do I know? I feel. This one is quite good. This one is late. So next time the ball comes, I'm going to try and hit earlier. This one was too early. This one was too early. So as you can see, I'm catching the ball. There's quite a lot of difference in my contact points because I'm playing with my left. But that's the process I would go through. I'm not thinking about, you know, uniturn or whatever. There's a different part of the lesson for that. I'm working on my technique, okay, fine. But in order to make my technique work, I need to hit the ball right here. Cannot hit the ball here, cannot hit the ball here. And I'm going to hit the ball right there if I pay attention to that. So I need to work on that very deliberately for a while in order to polish my contact point where the energy goes into the ball in the most efficient way. There's another way to improve the quality of your contact besides when, and that's where on the racket you hit the ball. So ideally we want to hit in the sweet spot of the racket, but that's just the size of your palm and it's not so easy to hit. And while modern rackets allow for a lot of mishits, it's still best to hit in the sweet spot because that gives us the most power and control. As soon as you hit a little bit off, you will have much less power on the ball and the ball is going to land short. And so the exercise I recommend is that you call out the numbers, and we're going to call the sweet spot 3, and a little bit off sweet spot we're going to say 2, and hitting very close to the frame is going to be a 1. And so as I hit the ball, I call out the number because that helps me be aware. So that's a 2, that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 3, that's a 2, that's a 2, was not in the middle, that's a 2, and so on. So as I pay attention to my contact point and I'm aware where I'm hitting the ball on the racket, that is being sent to my subconscious, and my subconscious can adjust the racket slightly. So I cannot deliberately, consciously hit the sweet spot if I want, but by paying attention to the quality of my shot and how close to the sweet spot I hit, in time I'm going to improve my ability to hit more balls in the middle of the racket. As you've seen so far, the work on the contact point is fairly unconscious, so we cannot consciously change the racket path for a centimeter, but by paying attention to what's going on when we hit the ball, by being really aware, we are sending information to our subconscious, and in time it will adjust our stroke or our hand so that we hit the ball better. There's also the third part that helps you enhance that feeling or enhance that awareness. And this is simply stretching the time of contact. So let me first show you how we usually perceive a rally. So when I'm rallying with Michael, there are two very long periods of time. The first one is when the ball is coming towards me. So it's this one. It's a very long time before the ball reaches me when we rally nicely. So I also invite you to rally very slowly to be aware of this time. There's a lot of time. Now there's another, like very short time, my contact, like something happens and then I want to see what happened. So the second long time is me watching after my shot and trying to see what happened. So in your perception of the rally is like one very long period of time, 1.5 seconds of ball coming towards you, then a split second, 5/1000ths of a second actually, of the contact, and another 1.5 seconds of the ball leaving you, and you're observing again your flight. And so because of that, you really don't pay attention to the contact point because it's, you know, insignificant compared to the time of the ball coming towards you and the ball leaving you. And so what I'm asking you to do is to expand this time. Because if you don't pay attention to this short time, you won't really receive information from it. And expanding the time simply means that you stay longer in the contact. So you're not immediately looking what happened with your shot, but you're trying to feel and hear and experience what happens at contact. So that looks something like this. So as I hit the ball, I just try and feel what happened. I'm like listening to the vibration going through my arm. I'm trying to hear the quality of my shot. That was not in the middle. That was also not in the middle. So I'm really aware of, okay, this one feels really good. And it's not just hitting in the middle, it's also how your body functions. So when you hit the ball and you just listen, you will feel whether there's some tension in your body or whether your body is functioning well, or if it's efficient, if you're hitting effortlessly, and so on. By expanding the time of the contact point, you're receiving much more information in your brain and in your subconscious. You're much more aware of whether you're balanced or not, when you're hitting the ball, where you're hitting the ball, and so on. And through this awareness, you will improve in the long term because your brain will know how to adjust. It's not a conscious process that you do something, it's just paying attention to it, being aware of it, and receiving information, and your subconscious is going to do the rest. And so I invite you to play with these ideas so that you can bring your game to the next level beyond simply trying to improve your technique.